Have you ever wondered what a hemp growing operation looks like? I know there are some massive operations out there, and you might be thinking about one of those, but I bet what you've imagined isn't what ours is like. It's probably not even close. So today I want to share with you a little sneak peek into how we grow our hemp here at Alara Ridge Farm. Let's go. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the CBD and You podcast. And yes, you means you. And I believe you are here for a reason. I'm Lori, a Christian, a wife, a mama, and a midwife. And to put a little icing on the cake, my husband and I own a hemp farm in Tennessee. Girlfriend, I see it in your eyes, and I feel it in the messages you send me. You are tired of waking up every day exhausted with aches and pains that you really thought you were too young for. And with all the stress and anxiety of the day, you're over it. Are you starting to wonder if this is really all life is? I hear you, and you are not alone. God did not design us to just survive. He designed us to thrive. So if you're ready to embrace this beautiful life God has given you by discovering some of His best gifts for His children, rewarm that coffee you forgot about in the microwave, and let's take a minute to pour back into you with a quick chat and some me time. Let's go. When you go on YouTube and you start looking at videos of hemp operations and places that they grow hemp to make CBD products, you're probably seeing these massive, huge farms with all kinds of equipment that looks state-of-the-art and high-tech, right? And I guess that has its place, maybe. We could debate that, maybe. But we are a small farm, and we do things on a smaller scale. And I would argue it's a better process because there's so much more love put into it and there's so much more attention put into it on that smaller scale because we tend to every step personally. There's not any big machines doing it for us. We don't have any massive equipment running through and doing things. We do things differently. So there's a lot of reasons for that. The biggest reason is because to grow hemp for CBD oil, you really have to baby the plants more than you do if you're going to grow hemp for things like fiber. You have to treat them totally differently. So I thought today I would give you a little sneak peek into how we grow our hemp here. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult because you're going to have to use your imagination since this is an audio podcast. But stay tuned till the end, and I'm going to tell you about a place that you can go to see a video production of our farm so that you can see it for yourself as well. So let's first start with where the whole operation begins, at the seed. That's one of the neat things about Alara Ridge Farm that not many people can say. We literally have the products in our hands all the way from the seed, through the seedling stage, the plant stage, all the way to harvest, to processing, to the bottle. It's in our hands the whole way. So it never gets shipped anywhere. It never gets sent to a processing facility. We take care of it the whole process. So we usually start our seeds on the inside, like many of you probably do when you're starting maybe your tomato plants in the spring or whatever other plants that you're wanting to grow for the year. A lot of times you'll start the seeds on the inside to protect them for the weather and things like that. We do the same thing with our hemp seeds. We start them off inside, baby them for a little while. Eventually, he will move them outside to start the hardening off process, just like you do with your seedlings, because you can't just automatically plant them out into the field. They'll die. You have to get them used to the outside conditions. They've been inside. They've been babied. You've got to get them used to wind and sun and all of those things a little bit at a time. So we'll start to harden them off outside. Then when the weather conditions are right and he gets the field ready, he'll move them out to the field. So we have an 82-acre farm, but most of our farm is actually wooded and on a pretty significant hill, something that you really don't want to farm. We only have a little bit that's actually flat that we farm. So while we are a farm operation and we do farm hemp, it actually doesn't take a whole lot of space to do what we do. So we have about an acre, maybe a little bit less than an acre, where we grow our hemp plants. We have landscaping fabric down on the rows. So it's nice little neat rows. And the first year that we grew, and you'll see this a little bit in the video I'll tell you about in a little while, Andrew went through and made the holes where we continue to add things like compost and hay and different things like that to add to the soil naturally. And that's where he plants the hemp plants each year. We use the fabric row covers for a few reasons. One of the big ones is because it makes it nice and neat. You don't have to worry about weeds coming up. You don't have to worry about weed control or anything like that. We also leave a strip in between the rows. It's about the width of Andrew's lawnmower, because we also have a lawn care business, if you weren't aware of that. And so he can very easily just zip down each line and cut the grass and keep it nice and manicured and pretty. Once the plants are out there, we let nature go to work. Thankfully, while hemp can be a little bit finicky in general, of course, God does the work. He's the one that makes the plants grow. He gives us the sun. He gives us the rain. We have a well nearby, so we're able to water if we need to, but we haven't had to do that very many times. We've been very blessed to have consistent rainfall to where we don't have to do a lot of extra watering. We don't have a whole lot of things really to worry about in the way of pests and things like that. The biggest thing that ends up being a problem is once it gets to the budding phase or the flowering phase, sometimes caterpillars and worms will want to have a snack on those flowers. And there's a really neat natural substance that actually naturally occurs in the soil called, and I'm going to butcher this, but it's Bacillus thuringiensis, BT for short, much easier to say. Like I said, it's naturally occurring in soil, and that particular substance controls those caterpillars. So that's about the only thing that we use on the plants, and it is an organic substance. We fertilize with things like compost and worm castings. We do a lot of that at the planting time. We grow our own worms. We have our own little mini worm farm, and we use the castings from that to help fertilize the soil, as well as compost that we will get from local farmers and horse manure and cow manure, those kind of things, from around our area. Yummy topic, right? Then comes harvest time. And from start to finish, it's from about May to September or so. May is usually when they go in the ground, and September or so is when harvest happens, depending on different signs of maturity, which Andrew monitors to know when the buds are ready to be harvested. But he does everything manually. So when you see all these big combines and things like that, and you think that might be what we use, nope. He plants manually and he harvests manually. So he will manually cut down each and every plant that he plants. And if he does our whole field, that might be 500 or 600 plants. He hangs them to dry in our barn, just like if you've ever driven through the country when tobacco's hanging in barns. It's very similar to that. You let it hang. You hope that you have good conditions, the right humidity and things like that, the right temperature, the right airflow, so that nothing like mold or anything like that starts to grow on in them. And you monitor the weather to try to pick a good time to harvest them so that is the conditions that you'll have. And then once they're dry, he will manually strip the buds off of the plants. So that is the process in a nutshell. If you asked him what he did, you'd probably get a whole lot more details, but you're getting Lori's version, who just kind of watches what he does and doesn't do all of it. He does that hard work, and I'm blessed to have him. The coolest thing about hemp is that when it's fully grown and those plants are nice and full and lush, and we look down from our house into the field, it looks like a Christmas tree field. It really does. It's like we're growing Christmas trees to cut in December, but it's hemp. So it's a really pretty sight to see. And since I've given you this description and you haven't seen it for yourself yet, now is the time that I will share with you where you can go watch it. So down in the show notes, I have put a link to a video that we have over on our YouTube channel, which is not all that robust of a channel. I put little things here and there, and all of our podcast episodes do post there in an audio version. But back in 2020, I put together a video of snapshots and a couple little video clips of the whole growing process from the very beginning all the way through harvest. And it's kind of like a music video of sorts. But if you go to that link, you can see the whole thing. You'll get a look at AJ back when he was, I guess, 5 or 6 now. Is that right? He just turned 9 last week. So I guess that makes him 5 or 6 back then. And he was helping Andrew put the compost in the holes and put the plants in and everything. So you'll get to see all that. And you'll get to see the whole process start to finish. So I hope you'll go check that out. Again, the link is down in the show notes. And I hope you enjoy that. Be sure to go also down a little bit further in the show notes and head over to our website. If you haven't given us a try yet, you still got that 20% discount that you can go grab, bit.ly/CBD and you show. If you have questions, there's also links for how to contact me. If you have suggestions for shows or topics that you'd like to hear me talk about, go leave me a message on the SpeakPipe link, I guess you would say, speakpipe.com/CBD and you, and tell me what you want to learn about. I would love to talk about a topic that you're interested in a future show. So go do that for me, and I will look forward to seeing you right back here next week. Whoa, wait, stop. I need your help. Before you take off, if this podcast has blessed you in any way, or if you learned something, could you take 1 minute and leave me a written review over on Apple Podcasts? That's the absolute best way you can thank me. I love hearing how what I've learned on my journey has helped you on yours. Remember that the word says every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. CBD is one of them, but there are so many more. Cling to him and you will never go wrong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you back here in a few days.